March 31st, 1943. The air above Burma is a furnace of sunlight and gunfire. The midday haze ripples over the green hills, broken by the sudden roar of engines as a formation of B-24 Liberators cuts through the humid sky. Their mission is simple on paper: strike the rail yards at Pianmana, sever Japanese supply lines, and make it home to India before nightfall. But war is never simple. The air feels heavy, like it's waiting to swallow something. Inside one of those bombers, Lieutenant Owen J. Baggett sits behind his Browning .50, the vibration of the engines drumming through his bones. He wipes sweat from his brow and squints into the sunlight, scanning for specks in the distance. Enemy fighters. He's only 24, a Texas boy raised under endless skies, the son of a small-town railroad worker. He'd grown up dreaming of flight, of cutting through clouds that once only seemed like unreachable oceans. Now those same clouds conceal death. The mission begins smoothly. Bombs drop, explosions ripple through the jungle valley below. But as the formation turns to head home, the radio crackles with a clipped, panicked voice. "Bandits! 3 o'clock high!" Owen jerks his head and sees them, sleek silhouettes diving from the sun. Japanese Ki-43 Oscars, fast, agile, and painted with the rising sun on their wings. Tracer fire streaks through the air like molten rain. A Liberator ahead erupts into flame, spiraling down through the clouds. Another takes hits across its fuselage, black smoke trailing like a torn flag. Owen's pilot, Major Lloyd Jensen, yells through the intercom, "All gunners, open up!" Owen swings his turret, finger tightening on the trigger. The guns thunder, shaking the airframe, brass shells clattering against metal. For a heartbeat, the world is nothing but noise and recoil. Then he sees one of the Japanese fighters burst into smoke and tumble away. Cheers fill the intercom, brief, desperate triumph. But the celebration dies almost instantly. Another Oscar slides in behind them. Bullets rake through the fuselage, smashing instruments, punching holes through metal. The right wing ignites. "She's burning! Get out!" Jensen shouts. The bomber lurches, one engine coughing flames, the tail shearing away. Owen scrambles from his station, his lungs full of smoke. The heat is unbearable. He grabs his parachute, clips it to his harness, and dives through the open hatch into a wall of wind. The sky rushes up to meet him. His parachute blooms above, a white flower against the inferno. The sudden silence feels wrong. The bomber spirals below, a black comet trailing fire. For a long moment, he just falls, suspended between heaven and earth, between life and death. Then he hears it. Engines again, high-pitched, circling. He looks up and sees them. 2 Japanese fighters looping around like vultures. They dive toward the drifting parachutes, strafing the airmen as they fall helplessly through the open sky. Tiny puffs of smoke erupt near Owen's chute as bullets zip past. One parachute vanishes in a burst of flame. Another tumbles lifelessly toward the jungle. Owen's heart hammers. He dangles in the wind, nowhere to hide. His only weapon, a Colt .45 strapped to his side. He can see the glint of a pilot's goggles as one of the Oscars banks and comes straight for him. The sunlight flashes off the wings. He can almost feel the vibration of the engine through the air. The fighter closes in, too fast, too confident. The Japanese pilot must think the American is already finished, just another body on its way down. He tilts his plane slightly, maybe out of arrogance, maybe to get a better look. Owen draws his pistol. The metal feels impossibly small, absurd against the backdrop of warplanes and sky. He steadies his breathing, aims not at the plane but at the pilot's face, and fires. One shot, then another. At first, nothing happens. The fighter keeps coming. Then, at 20 yards, it twitches violently. The engine coughs, smoke bursts from the nose, the plane jerks upward, then rolls onto its side, spinning away into the clouds below. Owen stares, barely believing what he's seen. For a heartbeat, there's no sound but the soft rush of air. Then it hits him. The impossible realization that he just killed a pilot midair with a handgun while falling from the sky. It's madness. It's war. The ground rushes up. The jungle looks like an ocean of green knives. His chute snaps against the treetops, and he slams into a branch hard enough to knock the wind from his lungs. The world tilts. He tumbles down through vines and dust until the jungle floor swallows him. He lies there, stunned, half blind from the impact. The air smells of gunpowder and earth. Somewhere above, his parachute flutters like a ghost caught in the canopy. He tries to stand, but pain shoots through his leg. He drags himself toward a patch of shade, clutching the pistol like it's the last piece of civilization left in the world. The jungle hums with life. Cicadas, parrots, the distant growl of engines. He can hear shouting now, foreign voices cutting through the trees. Japanese patrols. He hides behind a fallen log, heart pounding. He remembers his training. Evade capture, find friendlies, survive. But the terrain is merciless. The humidity turns every breath into steam. The insects bite at his face, the mud clings to his boots. Every sound feels amplified, every shadow alive. Hours pass, maybe days, it's impossible to tell. Hunger gnaws at him. The pistol feels heavier each time he grips it. Once he hears laughter, human voices close by. Then a click, the unmistakable sound of a rifle being cocked. He freezes. A group of Japanese soldiers steps out of the undergrowth. Their uniforms are torn, stained with sweat. One of them shouts something harsh and guttural. Owen raises his hand slowly, his Colt dangling uselessly from his finger. They approach cautiously, rifles aimed at his chest. He thinks of running, of fighting, but the moment is gone before it begins. A rifle butt strikes his temple. The jungle tilts again. When he wakes, the light is dim. He's bound, sitting on the ground beneath a tattered canvas awning. Around him lie fragments of wreckage, twisted metal, burned fabric, the remains of his bomber. His crewmates are gone, maybe captured, maybe dead. The reality settles in like cold rain. He tries to speak, but his mouth is too dry. A Japanese officer crouches beside him, studying him like a specimen. "Pilot?" the man asks in broken English. Owen nods faintly. The officer smirks, as if amused by the fragility of this man who fell from the sky. They march him through villages and swamps, his hands tied, his body bruised. Children stare. Soldiers jeer. The world feels distant, detached. At night, he looks up at the same stars he used to fly beneath and wonders if anyone back home will ever know what happened. He replays the moment again and again in his mind. The parachute, the circling fighters, the single desperate shot. It almost feels unreal, like a fever dream burned into his memory. He can still see the flash, the way the enemy plane wobbled and disappeared. In the camps that follow, dark, suffocating places where time loses meaning, Owen holds on to that memory as proof that he's still alive, still human, still a soldier. The guards can take his uniform, his freedom, even his name, but they can't erase the sound of that pistol cracking across the sky. Some nights he thinks of the man he killed. Did he have a family? Was he young too, scared, just following orders? The thought gnaws at him, not out of guilt, but recognition. In the endless machinery of war, they were both the same. Two men who wanted to live another day under the same indifferent sun. Years later, historians would debate whether the story was true, whether a man could really down a fighter with a handgun midair. But for those who knew Owen, the truth was never in the ballistics. It was in the eyes of a man who had faced death and fired back. In that one impossible instant, floating between life and oblivion, he embodied everything the war stripped away: human will, defiance, and the refusal to surrender even when gravity itself seemed to demand it. When the Japanese finally drag him away from the jungle clearing, his parachute still hangs above, glowing faintly in the late afternoon light. It sways with the wind, white against the green, a silent monument to a moment that shouldn't have been possible. As the column of soldiers disappears into the trees, the forest closes behind them. The sound of engines fades into the horizon, and somewhere beyond that endless canopy, the sky remains unchanged, indifferent, eternal. The same sky that watched a falling man draw a pistol and change the story of war forever.